Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have something special down here at Birdland this evening.
Watch this.
You want a fresh style? Let me show you. Yeah.
I want you to listen to this one very carefully, you know.
Now jump up, old jungle scrub.
Now mash it.
Here it is. The tables are turning.
I wanna know how everybody's feeling.
Let your mind unwind.
We're gonna get funky.
All right.
One, two, three, four.
Well. Welcome back to another edition of Moving in the Right Direction Radio right here, right now. I'm your programmer and host, David James, taking you on a magical, mystical ride through this thing we call independent electronic music. Kicking things off this morning with brand new music from Earth and Days, a track called Closer to Your Soul. Let's go.
You're listening to Moving in the Right Direction Radio on 89.5 FM in Toronto. Waking Up with David James on 89.5 FM in Toronto. Waking Up with David James on 89.5 FM in Toronto.
You're located into Moving in the Right Direction Radio on 89.5.
A tremendous way to start off the program on a Thursday morning. Once again, my name is David James. You've hit the right station at the right time and certainly the right place to get you up to get down. Buffalo to Barrie, Coburg to Kitchener, online, worldwide on the international line at CIUT.FM, iHeartRadio Network in the house. Kicked off the show this week with brand new music from Earth and Days, a track called Closer to Your Soul. Before that, or after that, we heard Milton Shadow with Oh On You. In the background right now, Los Himeros, a track called Keep Holding Tight. You know the sample on this one coming from Change, original disco classic. Coming up on today's program, legendary. When I say legendary, legendary times 10. Techno artist Dave Clarke will be here. We'll be chatting with him, playing music after 8 o'clock. He's in town this weekend alongside Greg Gow, Ali K, and so many more. We'll be chatting about that shortly. Hold tight for that. Plus, coming up on the next hour, we've got music from John Rolodex with a brand new track. Polaris, brand new music. We have music from Dennis Cross, Jacques Green, Jamir, OGB, Hateris, Legal Edit, Carl Cox, and so much more. That's just hour number one. We have 2 hours after that. It's Moving in the Right Direction Radio. Let's get into it. Lovely, lovely track right here on a Thursday morning. In the background, music from OG, a track called Out of Touch. Before that, Los Ameros with Keep Hold Tight. Originally done by Change in 1981. Disco funk classic. Reworked for 2026 by Los Ameros. We're at Milton Shadow in the mix with On You, and start off the program this week with Earth and Days, track called Closer to Your Soul. In the background, Toronto's own Demir, always doing major damage on the Jack and Funk house tip. This one's called Ain't No Stoppin'. We've been playing this quite a bit.
Just come on, just come on, just come on, just come on. Everybody's just begun. Just come on. Just come on.
Yes, indeed, the sounds of Hateris with his latest release off Space Disco Recordings. This is called Hero Strings. Before that, Demir and Ain't No Stop. It's still to come before 8 o'clock in the morning if you're listening live direct on a Thursday on 89.5 or iHeartRadio or CIUT.fm. We have music from Carl Cox. We'll move into drum and bass mode in a few minutes with brand new music from John Rolodex, Polaris. We also have music from Dennis Cross, Jock Green, and so much more. Coming up after 8 o'clock, we have music and words, an interview with Dave Clarke, techno legend in town. Coming up in Toronto shortly this weekend, Vancouver, bit of a mini two-city Canadian tour, if you can call it a tour. But yeah, definitely almost coast to coast to coast, sort of, kind of. But Dave Clarke will be here nonetheless. Looking forward to that. Coming up a little later on also, we have a brand new music. We played it last week, but I want to really highlight this track. Love it, love it, love it. DJ Scent in collaboration with Sarah Sims on Sarah Sims Symmetry Sound. Nice little Detroit house music coming at you. Big shout out to all those who showed up to Mike Agent X Clark. Heard it was off the hook. Lots of parties to announce coming up today. We'll talk about that a little later on. We've only just begun, as they say. We're moving in the right direction on Thursday. Funky NASA in the background goes like this.
You're listening to Moving in the Right Direction Radio on 89.5 FM in Toronto. Waking Up with David James on 89.5 FM in Toronto.
living on our knees.
Most definitely one of my picks of the week. Carl Cox, James Brown, Say It Loud. We're lighting up your morning on a Thursday. Still to come on the program, we're going to shift gears in a few seconds, move into a drum and bass situation. We'll kick things off with Canada's own John Rolodex. Track called Something You Feel. We have music from Polaris, Jock Green, and so much more before 8 o'clock in the morning. Hope you're doing okay. Southern Ontario, Canada. Those listening online, iHeartRadio, CIUT.FM. Goes like this.
Waking Up with David James on 89.5 FM in Toronto.
It's just something you feel, you know. Every night coming up with something new, something nobody had ever heard before. Sometimes we were backstage between sets and we'd decide when we go back out, let's try something a little different.
Absolutely tremendous track on a Thursday morning. Music from Polaris, Canada's own, a track called Pool Hopping. We start off the drum and bass set with John Rolodex with something new called Something You Feel. Up next, music from Dennis Cross, Marley, track called Stop Your Line, Jock Green, still to come before 8 o'clock in the morning. We're fired up on a Thursday as we now are officially significantly well away from the midpoint of winter 2026, heading towards spring. Electric Island dates announced, Detroit Movement lineup announced Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the end of May. Things are looking up, including Better Days UK returns for its 4th edition of the annual reunion happening April 2nd at Aqua. 2 rooms of action, more details shortly on that. Things to look forward to, stepping in, stepping out on a Thursday.
Waking Up with David James on 89.5 FM in Toronto. You're listening to Movin' in the Right Direction Radio on 89.5 FM in Toronto.
was only a moment away. The love I had inside was there to stay. If only you'd wait a while, you'd see my love for you was versatile. Can't you see it's wrong to keep me hanging on? Can't you see it's wrong to keep me hanging on? You're lying. Won't you stop your lying now? Ooh, now. Ooh, stop your lying now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Brand new music coming from the likes of Dennis Cross and Marley, a track called Stop Your Lying. Love it, love it, love it. Before that, Polaris with Pool Hopping. We heard John Rolodex mixed with Something You Feel. We're feeling good on a Thursday morning. I hope you are too. Give us a shout on Facebook, Instagram, Moovin Radio, Moon Right Direction Radio. Sign up. Membership has its privileges. Coming up after 8 o'clock, we have music and words and an interview with the legendary techno artist Dave Clarke. He's coming to town. He's coming to Toronto and Vancouver. We got tickets to give away for the Toronto show, so hold tight for that. We close out the first hour of the program with music from Jacques Green, a track called Unknown. Back at you for hour number 2. We're moving in the right direction. Coming up in a few minutes, special guest Dave Clarke. He's in town in Toronto Saturday night as part of an amazing warehouse party. We'll be chatting with him in a few minutes. Hold tight for that. Up next, Starving Yet Full.
Seasons keep changing. They go round and back around. Dreamers keep dreaming for a better world to live in. Decisions that we make sometimes can keep us falling on the ground. Freedom is needed to fly above. We aim to fly from above, up in the sky, just like them doves. We aim to fly, from above, up in the sky, just like them doves. We aim to fly. Oh, we aim to fly. Oh, we aim to fly like them doves. Just saying how it is. We don't need to live for the money. Wasting that time for the money. They're chasing them bags for the money. They're trying to find love for the money. Stay up all night for the money. They ain't gonna stop for the money. Telling their lies for the money. How you can go wake up in the morning. Got to be free from the money. All we need is love. 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 Seasons keep changing. They go round and back around. Dreamers dreaming for a better world to live in. Decisions that we make sometimes can keep us falling on the ground. Oh, freedom is needed to soar above. We aim to fly from above, up in the sky, just like him does. We aim to fly, fly from above, up in the sky, just like him does. We aim to fly.
Fantastic way to start off the second hour of the program. Starting at full in collaboration with the Spirit Project. Nice. Up next, speaking of legends, we got Dave Clarke coming up, but this guy in particular has done some amazing things over the last couple decades. This is Jerome Sydenham with Fatima Naji, track called I Wish, brand new.
You're listening to Moving in the Right Direction Radio on 89.5 FM in Toronto.
As we go along, it feels
Big tune right here coming from Jerome Sydenham alongside Kyle Hall. Nice combination here. Track called KH Dromeals from the Craft Minded EP, brand new. Up next, as promised, special guest this week, Dave Clarke. He's a legend, he's an icon, he's an innovator. He's in Toronto for the first time in about 10 years, really. Coming up Saturday night. Also featuring on the bill, Toronto legend Greg Gow, Juno winner, I might add, Ali K. All beginning at 10 p.m. We got tickets to give away to Dave Clarke. A pair of tickets this morning on this radio program. We got skill testing question. Name one venue that Dave Clarke has played at throughout his career here in Toronto. Name one venue. You win yourself a pair of tickets. The first person to send me a direct message through social media on Facebook. Once again, the question is, where has Dave Clarke played when he's come to Toronto? Any of the venues. You might want to listen to the interview. There's some sneak peeks on that question, but you might know already. You might have been there. He's been coming to Toronto since the 1990s. Back at it once again this Saturday night, March 7th, alongside Ali K, Greg Gow. All happening in Toronto. If you're in the Vancouver area listening on a Thursday morning, you can check him out also on the West Coast in Vancouver Friday night. All the details on our Moving the Right Direction Facebook page. In the house, Dave Clarke, special guest this week. Goes like this on a Thursday morning. I'm in the midst or in the zone of one of my favorite producers out there for techno music. He probably doesn't know that, and he has been doing this thing for at least a couple decades, more than that. He's here today on the show, and we're going to be talking about an event coming up here in Toronto, but also Vancouver. Mr. Dave Clarke, welcome.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Real honor to have you on the program this morning. So much to talk about, but in particular, I just want to read off a few things that you've accomplished with your career. Obviously, you know, one of the hallmarks that we feel is the Archive 1 release in the 1990s. You know, sound at the time that wasn't really being produced or made, but a real innovative record there, Archive 1. John Peel from BBC Radio has called you the Baron of Techno. Your White Noise radio show broadcast over 100 FM radio stations. And recently, I guess over the last few years, you've moved into the space of photography, which also led you to have a Billboard cover. A lot has gone on in your career. What are you the most proud of, or what are you the most sort of what's been one of the biggest accomplishments for you?
Having food on my table and not answering to the man.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest accomplishments. By having the privilege of still being allowed to be independent of mind, spirit, and soul. That I think that's more difficult than ever it was before, really. And I feel privileged about that. I feel privileged about my fan base, that they're so sort of loyal and seemingly good people that even if I was to stray off the path, they wouldn't let me. And I actually like that. So I feel privileged about that. I feel blessed that I can still be an artist. Being an artist is, I mean, I also teach as well. I teach at the Harlem Conservatorium a little bit. I do like 20 lessons a year. And being able to teach, I sort of teach like a hybrid of more mentorship within the music industry and slightly politics as well, to enable youngsters to open their mind up to having to be brave enough to feel open and free and not constrained by worried about saying the wrong thing in public, because you used to be able to not necessarily say a really bad thing in public, but say something in public that might not be well formulated at the time, but not badly intentioned. And sometimes people will spring on that and shut you down. And now, you know, it's difficult for young artists to sort of find out who they are in public without worrying about maybe misjudging or doing something wrong. I'm talking about light stuff, obviously. So I feel pretty blessed about that. Like the photography is something which has always been of interest to me, but I had to choose when I was younger. Well, not have to choose. I didn't have a choice. So I had to sell my father's camera that was given to me for food. And it was either that or sell all my music. And I was already selling a lot of my vinyl that I had in those days because I couldn't afford to eat. So I decided to sell the camera. And I'm not saying that the camera itself and the money that came from it helped me get through, but it was a decision I had to make. And I'm glad that I could pick that up actually in honor of my father, who was really into photography. And, you know, I've been lucky enough to have a solo exhibition at the Leica Gallery in Amsterdam for 6 weeks. I was lucky enough to have some front covers for like Billboard magazine in Italy, and also Kiel magazine, which is like based in Germany, but also goes out through Asia as well. And be able to do some portraits. But my love of photography is also location based. I love architecture. I absolutely love really deep landscapes. So, you know, and that whole aesthetic of doing photography, especially in monochrome, really feeds into my love of alternative music as well. And then with the alternative music, obviously I've been doing another radio show called Saga, which is now coming up to 150 episodes, which has been going on for like 5 years. And that sort of allows me to go back to where I kind of started, which was a lot more wider bass music. Of course, I still love proper techno, proper electro, but this is like more gothic, more rock and roll. I mean, working with like Canadian bands like Actors, for example, things like that, and Last Chance in Greece, and lots of other bands that Ashcode that I really inspired by and like and enjoy playing on the Saga radio show. And then I walk around, because now I still travel, but not anywhere near as much as I used to, in the fact that I do 2 or 3 gigs in a weekend. I mean, I still do that sometimes, but that was almost on a weekly basis for 20 years. Now I take a camera with me, my travel camera, and then I listen to music on headphones, go into my zone, and then take photos. And so I feel like the art is feeding itself. And that gives me an incredible feeling. And the beautiful thing about photography, especially the way that I approach it, is that I do most stuff on location. So, you know, when I work in the studio, I'm in, you know, I was in Soho House in Barcelona recently, and there was a guy just making stuff on Logic in Barcelona, just in the lounge on his headphones. And that works for people, but I'm old school in the same way that For a lot of photographers, they would sit down with a Wacom tablet and sit opposite a computer with a screen over it, and that's how they would edit their photos. Now I edit my photos on an iPad in the same way that a lot of producers are doing Logic on the road, and they're just carrying a backpack and they have that freedom. I still need to be in a studio, physical studio with physical equipment, to feel it, to enjoy it, to really like the process. So for me, like making music, I'm locked in an environment, but when I'm doing photography, like I always say, what do I need for photography? I need a good pair of walking boots, a couple of credit cards, fully charged cameras, and an iPad, and a hotel with maybe a fireplace that I can take my shoes off, put my feet up with socks against the fireplace and start editing photos whilst having a cup of tea. And that for me is like a complete difference. It's like freedom of movement that I wouldn't necessarily get, at least the way my mind operates when making music. So I feel lucky that I'm in this world that I can do different types of art all the time, and get really good feedback from it. By the way, I have to say, earlier on you said that 100 FM radio shows. That was the case up until a year ago, where I actually decided to actually just limit it down to 3.
Oh, why is that?
Couple of reasons. I often get the feeling that with a lot of radio stations these days, unless they're run by people, you're providing content, and you're not really getting that feedback mechanism of person to person, of passion.
Right.
And with the proliferation of non-linear listening patterns, I also found out that having it on some stations that I have a good relationship with, or that they have a good outlook on what they do, that's enough, because everyone else can then listen to on TuneIn, or they can listen to on podcasts in their own time and have it in their pocket. So actually I just cut it back down, because I just felt that I was helping to provide an income stream of advertising for stations that I didn't really have a relationship with.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think, as you know, that this era of music, in particular, just in general in life, is social media has become such sometimes a liability, sometimes an asset. Where do you stand on that? Because when you talk about independence and being an independent artist, there's other driving forces that try to pressure people into conformity in terms of how they project themselves out into the public, which we probably didn't have in the 90s or 80s. Nothing like this before, where I watched some artists, in particular electronic artists, music artists, their social media posts are nothing about music. It's about what they ate. It's about what clothes they're wearing. It's about them jumping around and, I don't know, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but it's actually nothing about music. How have you been able to veer away from that? I mean, you're making a conscious choice, I guess, right? Yeah.
Well, I'd like to raise my hand and say that there are many photos on my Instagram stories of oysters. So I'm not quite as innocent as that. I do have pictures of sometimes nice food, but very seldom pictures of me eating it, because, like I often joke, I have a face for radio. So I don't do that, and I'm not really into that whole frontage of. It's just not my style. So I stay away from that. I mean, what happened was with electronic music is that venture capitalism slowly edged in, took over everything, and then went against Live Nation. So now it's like a duopoly in many, many ways. And that then forced managers to get more heavily involved, and PR companies that handle people's social media. And then it becomes about presentation. It becomes vapid, uninteresting, same. It's the same. It's like when you see some of the newer wave of DJs that aren't actually really doing any mixing, they're all doing the same dance moves, and they're all doing the same thing, because it's like there's a stage school to go to, where if you want success, not musical statement, just success, right? If you want success, then this is what you have to do with your hands. This is what you have to present. You have to look like it's your it's like you're a 5-year-old and it's your birthday party and it's all a big shock. And that's killed it. I mean, PR companies are providing a service for the society that we're living in, but they also they made it happen a lot faster. They moved it towards the way they want to do it, so they can charge 10,000-15,000 euros per month of handling this, and then they'll buy the fake likes. That then there's a lot of this now that's taken away completely from the music industry, and it's become really empty, actually. And really, it's just a lot of these artists are now really corporate DJs. They're corporate, whether they're, you know, wearing Balenciaga to, you know, to earn money from it, or to try to look cool or whatever. They're corporate DJs. They're not presenting any form of counterculture whatsoever. Like zero counterculture, actually. It is so empty of any meaning, and everyone fits into a stereotype. So there's no real curveballs out there at that level anymore. Okay, it's a different world, and you can accept that, which I do, but it doesn't mean that I can't observe it and actually speak about where I feel it's going in the wrong direction. And it's been in the wrong direction for a long time. But I'm also traveling around Europe and clubs, and I try my best, but clubs are really struggling. They're really struggling because the artists that came from here, okay, that happens throughout all musical things. You know, you'll get your Liza Minnelli kind of vibe that will just end up in Las Vegas for 20 years or whatever. You'll get that sort of thing. I don't know if she ever did, but you know what I'm saying. Because it's an easy money. It's where Elvis got really fat, right? It's not where he actually did his best work. It's where he got really, really fat, really, really unhappy. And this is what's happening with the music industry. And the clubbing scene is really struggling because a lot of these artists that had the support from the clubbing scene don't support the clubbing scene anymore. It's seen beneath them. It seems as if it was a tool to get them where they wanted to be. And due to their narcissistic nature, they can't look back at that and actually do anything altruistic at all. It's impossible for them. have very good memories of Canada in the 90s. You mentioned the 90s. You know, I remember, say, for example, Gen Star, who would do these boat parties going up and down with DJ Sneak. I remember Government on the cusp of when it got bigger, but booking artists who are incredibly talented, like Mistress Barbara, right? And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then, of course, you have people like Kenny Glasgow being around. And it was really, really interesting. I mean, Honey Dijon was always around Canada in those years and she was doing great. And it was interesting. It was really, really cool. Vancouver, I think I've only ever been to once before. It was a strange event compared to Toronto and Montreal. Toronto and Montreal were always, I was always an East Coast hip hop guy, not a West Coast hip hop guy. There's a different feeling. I don't know if it's the cold that toughens people up or does something, but I felt the cold side of the American continent was always edgier with music, you know. And I felt, you know, when I spent time, say, for example, in LA, San Francisco, it was totally different than New York, Boston. Same with Vancouver and Toronto and Montreal. It was always slightly different. But I do remember having a lot of great memories. I even played in Halifax, actually. And actually, and actually really, really enjoyed that. I saw the English fort they had up there. I remember all of these things quite clearly. And it was really, really interesting. Who was Andrew Duke was there, who was like a sort of journalist of kind, really deep into the music. And there was a lot of real underground cottage industry feeling where everyone was allied to each other through passion. Sorry, I just wanted to say my experience of Canada in the 90s, you know.
Yeah, no, we definitely had a great scene. Still, we have a good scene. I think you'll really enjoy Toronto, for sure. I want to talk about your music production because my sense is, I mean, everything you produce is quite unique and fresh, to be honest. But my sense is that there's a punk music element attached to what you do in some of your production. Would that be true and accurate?
Well, you can't see me, but I'm wearing tartan trousers right now, so maybe you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Punk, new wave, and hip hop taught me everything I needed to know. New wave was all about angst and depth. Punk was always about energy and anger. And hip hop was always about social observance.
Yeah.
Along with punk as well. So it kind of taught me everything. And I always find it interesting that, at least up until 15 years ago, everyone would talk about the punk ethos within the UK. And I've had this chat with Joey Ramone, and he said to me, yeah, so you're English, aren't you? And I went, yeah. He says, so you don't think punk is America? I went, no, you guys are playing fast rock and roll. You're produced by Phil Spector. No, it's not punk, sorry. And he was a bit angry, but also smiling about it.
in terms of music, is there stuff you still want to accomplish? Is there people you want to work with? Is there a sound you want to project? Does music still making music? Does that still excite you?
Making techno doesn't excite me at all.
Okay.
At all, it doesn't. Getting really well crafted, inventive, brilliant techno to DJ with absolutely excites me, and I'll flag wave that forever because I love it. But sitting in front of a computer making techno when I've done it for so long is not where I want to be, at least in the immediate future. It's not where I want to be. Where I want to be is doing what I've been doing and enjoying it and feeling it. So like working with bands, doing remixes of bands that I really like, that have something to verbally say, have something to attitude say, and I can do something with that and then move it into another realm and really enjoy working with them. So I love that. I love classical music. There should be a neo-classical album coming out around October, which I recorded in my studio and wrote with some other people in my studio. I want to do that completely. I want to do more punk. I want to do more goth. And that's where I want to go because it fits within my photographic era where I'm at now. And also electro. I still love electro, of course, to make. Like, I often find that the production that comes across, because obviously getting a groove going in techno that's original, super difficult, right? I'm not saying I don't do it because it's easy, because that would be bullshit. It's super difficult to get a really, really good groove going. And there's some people that still do this and they live and breathe it, and it's amazing. But electro producers, they're next level with their production skills. They're next level with their musicianship. And that really interests me because I had the pleasure of playing this weekend with Anthony Rotter. And his music is still fucking edgy and brilliant and inventive. And that excites me. But for me to be in the studio now, it's going to be goth, it's going to be punk, it's going to be band orientated, it's going to be classical music orientated, it's going to be alternative, it's going to be challenging.
coming to Canada, shortly. We just talked a few minutes ago about the '90s in Canada. When you come to a place, because you're not here often, obviously this is going to be a big, opportunity for us to hear you play. But when you come to a place where you haven't played in a while, does that make you nervous? Do you kind of, or does that throw you off, or do you play a Dave Clarke set? Do you know? Do you kind
I'll always represent myself and what I believe myself. I very rarely adapt. In fact, the last time I adapted was when I played in Morocco 20 years ago, 2004 or 5, and I was for some reason in the top 100 DJ charts in those days, and people will book you for that. And I ended up in this Moroccan sort of castle playing for a prince.
Wow.
And I went in there and I realized that if I went in there and just rammed it down their throat hard in the very, very beginning, it's going to be really offensive, actually. And it's not where I wanted to do, because everyone was so nice to me and so hospitable. So I actually started off with more my mellow house music that I used to play in those days. And that was too hard for them. And then I played for another I think I only played for 15 minutes. And I did try and adapt in that situation, but that's the only time that I can think of in my memory where I have tried to adapt whilst being a professional international DJ. So I'll be coming to Canada, I'll be doing me. End of story. I'll just be doing me. Am I nervous? No, I'm not nervous, because it's the safe side of the border of the American continent, so I should be well looked after.
That's right, you will be.
I'm sorry that you still have the Queen on your $20 notes, but it's still, I do feel a connection with Canada, and that's good. It's like I was joking to an American friend. He said, "Will you come over the pond to go to America?" But I'm going over the pond to go to Canada. Because I do feel it, and Vancouver. I've only ever been there once. I think it was around in the 90s. And I went to Vancouver Island. I went whale watching. I didn't go to Whistler, but I went whale watching. And in those days, I think there was an Alfred Dunhill that I went to and smoked cigars in. I remember things quite clearly. But I don't really remember the gig that clearly. But I went to Toronto so many times. I mean, I even had a Canadian booking agent back in the days in College Street, actually. Most Wanted.
Right.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And we always used to go down to Mr. Lee's. I don't know if I should say this online. You can always edit it. And we used to we used to wink at them and go, "Can I have a special cup of tea, please?" And then you'd end up with a vodka in your tea, because they weren't allowed to serve the drinks late at night. So I'll be me. Hopefully, people will get me. If they don't, then see you in another 10 years.
Love it. We're really looking forward to your set and for you to coming back to Canada. Dave, thanks so much for spending time with us this morning. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm looking forward to what you have in store over the next coming months and years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
If you're going to play my music, can you play my remix of Actors and keeps it Canadian?
Okay, absolutely, for sure.
My
sounds of the Actors, Canada's Own, with Dave Clarke on the remix. Thank you so much to Dave Clarke for spending time with us over the last hour or so, playing music, chatting. Don't forget, he's in town March 7th here in Toronto as part of Value Vision's amazing techno night featuring Great Gal, Ali K, and so much more. We gave tickets away. We got another pair of tickets to give away next week. More on that. We'll be back in a flash. We're moving in the right direction. CIUT. Back at it for hour number 3 right here, right now on Moon the Right Direction Radio. My name is David James. I hope you're enjoying the program so far. I keep saying Dave Clarke is in town this Saturday. No, that's not this Saturday. Listen carefully. Next Saturday, March 7th in Toronto, March 6th, Friday, next Friday in Vancouver. Get it straight, David James. You're so excited about this one. You're promoting it a week ahead. Nonetheless, Dave Clarke in town next Saturday, March 7th. We got one more pair of tickets to give away. We'll be giving those away next week on this radio program, so hold tight for that. Up next, music from B.O.B. Kicks things off. Gonna get a little melodic, a little deep, a little tech. It's a Thursday morning. It goes like this.
You come with I can't control between the sounds and the soul. Across my skin, and I feel further back within. Take me under, take me slow, where the time moves, where it glows, into the fade, still remain. Take me under, take me slow, where the time burns, where it glows, into the fade, still remain. Speaking rhythms I can name, sound the sun, the shininess flame. I close my eyes to feel the moon, your breath the key, another door. Am I the dream or the dream still? Gravity
you. Time after time, I try to talk to you, but you don't take me to your heart. 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 But you don't take me to your heart. 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 But you don't take me to your heart.
Yes, most definitely starting off very strong on a Thursday morning. For hour number 3, we kicked off the set with Bobby with a track called Into the Fade, Maphis Stroder with a track called Take Me to the Heart, Geist in the mix with Loving You. Up next, Robert Owens, Alan Dixon, Moat, a track called She Sees Only Sunshine. We're looking for the sunshine coming soon, hopefully.
my mind again.
The sounds of Deadmau5 and Steve Appleton, brand new music, a track called Science. Before that, Keep Our Own, Jenner and Glenn Morrison giving us a track called Upside. We start off the set program, or not the program, but the hour, third hour, with music from Beboni, track called Into the Fade. Matthias Schriffhauser, track called Take Me to Your Heart. Geist in the mix with Loving You. Robert Owens, Alan Dixon, Omat with She Sees Only Sunrise. Eli and Fur giving us Strange, brand new music. And once again in the background, Deadmau5, Steve Appleton, track called Science. Copy up before 10 o'clock in the morning if you're listening live direct on a Thursday. We got music from Wild Dark, Roman Cayenne, Sudbeat music in the house, and brand new music from M Section, aka Mark Bashai, aka LeBaron James on the techno tip. Yes. Congratulations to the ticket winners for Dave Clarke, happening next Saturday, March 7th. I know I've been saying this Saturday, March 7th, but March 7th can only happen once a year. And that's next March 7th. Next week, March 7th, 2026. Dave Clarke in the house in Toronto. Of course, he'll be doing a show in Vancouver March 6th the night before. More details, more tickets to give away next week. Legendary show. You gotta check it out. Next week I'll be broadcasting from Berlin. Gonna be a massive show, lots of techno music. Back into it. Hope you enjoyed the mix so far. We got about 20 minutes left in the program. It's been a sensational show as per usual. You can catch our show on repeat at ciut.fm. Click on schedule, scroll down to Moovin Right Direction Radio, and the past episodes are there just for you. You can also check us out on Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, and so many other streaming platforms. We're everywhere. Moving the Right Direction Radio. We're back here next week. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, live from Berlin. Gonna be a slammin' experimental left field techno show, primarily. We'll be talking about the Dave Clarke event happening March 6th and 7th in Canada. Saturday in Toronto, Friday in Vancouver next weekend. Plus, we have tickets to give away to that one. Let's get back into it. sounds of Nick Vernon and DK, a track called Cactus off the Sunbeat record label. M Section, Robots. Big respect going out to Mark Bashai, aka LeBaron James, one half of at least, doing some techno business featuring M Section, Robots. Nice. We're moving in the right direction on a Thursday morning. I hope you're enjoying the program. It's been a grueling winter, but we're well past the midway point now, heading towards the end of, hopefully, of winter 2026. Lots to look forward to as the spring and summer launch. Mutech coming up late August. Electric Island throughout the summer, beginning in May. Of course, Movement Detroit. And so much more. Oshega just announced their lineup. A lot to look forward to. Rufus the Soul coming to Toronto early September. Rogers Centre going to be massive. Keep locked here to 89.5 and Move in the Right Direction Radio throughout the coming weeks and months for all your events, including next weekend. Dave Clarke in town next Saturday, March 7th. We'll have an air pair of tickets to give away. Next week we'll be broadcasting from the nation of Germany inside Berlin. That'll be absolutely spectacular. Coming back with lots of new music, lots of left field business coming up next weekend. And on next week's show, that's for sure, next Thursday morning. We're here 7 to 10 a.m. live direct on 89.5, worldwide at CIUT.fm. Until next week, see ya. We'll let the music do the rest of the talking the rest of the way. Coming up at 10 o'clock, if you're listening live direct on a Thursday, Democracy Now!
ain't all